Okay. Good afternoon, Baldwin Middle. Okay, you're not giving me the thumbs up.
It's still thinking.
Oh, okay.
I just want to make sure the recording is working before we can talk. We are good to go.
Okay. All right. So, good afternoon to all of our STEM scholars, and good afternoon to all of our Baldwin families. Thank you for joining us this afternoon at 1 o'clock. We are absolutely excited to go over our transition to the hybrid model 101 with each and every one of you. I just wanted to let you know that this is being recorded live. So in the event that you missed something or you need to refer back to something that we have discussed, this will be posted on our SMBR web page. So you will be able to go back to our web page to refer to anything that we will discuss this afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with our presentation. Again, this is our transition to the hybrid model 101. Okay, this is pretty much our table of contents, and it just lets you know everything that we're going to discuss. And additionally, you can refer and find all of this information on the ren.org site, and it will be under the heading, the 2021 Parent and Student Guide to Learning. So if you go to that heading on the ren.org site, you can also reference everything that we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about hybrid model procedures and all of this listed under there, as well as hybrid learning schedules. And today's PowerPoint is specific to SMBR, as well as including everything that the district has provided for the entire district as well. Okay, so hybrid model basics. Students enrolled in hybrid are assigned in-person learning 2 days per week. So I need you to understand that your student receives instruction 5 days a week. However, out of those 5 days, they're actually in the building for 2 of those 5 days, depending upon if your student is on an A schedule or a B schedule. And Wednesdays, everyone is at home. That is an asynchronous day where heavy duty cleaning will be happening here in the building. So again, your student will receive instruction every day of the week. So all students still have 5 days of instruction. They will follow their assigned hybrid learning schedule. And again, Wednesdays look differently because that is an asynchronous day. Asynchronous meaning students learn independently, and they also have opportunities to participate in small group instruction with their teachers during intervention hours. Virtual Academy basics. Classes will be live streamed, and students who are enrolled in the Reynoldsburg Virtual Academy will be instructed by the teachers they've had since the beginning of the year. So no worries there. Your students will have the same teachers that they have always had. Students in the Virtual Academy will have 5 days of instruction, and all of our Virtual Academy students will participate using the same schedule as their peers. So let's talk about masks and face coverings. All teachers, staff, and students will wear cloth or disposable masks. Parents should send masks with students daily. Now, please don't worry. If by chance your kiddo forgets their mask, we will have disposable masks on hand. However, we do need your support, and we need you to send your student with a mask daily. Now, if there is a medical reason and your student cannot wear a mask, please complete the medical exemption form. It's called the Student Face Covering Exemption Request Form. Now, please remember that not all requests may be honored because it has to be a medical reason. But you are invited to go to the COVID-19 site on our page. It's in big red letters on the district website, and look for the Student Face Covering Exemption Request form. Teachers will give students a mask break from time to time throughout the day. And when that happens, there will be social distancing enforced during the mask break. All right, so let's discuss guidance for attending school. Please check your child for any symptoms of COVID-19 and do not send your child to school if they present with any of the following symptoms. That is, any of the following symptoms: a fever of 100.4 or higher, cough, shortness of breath, fatigue, body aches, headache, loss of taste or smell, sore throat, runny nose, nausea and vomiting, or diarrhea. Again, any one of these is a reason for your student to not come to school. So we're asking, and as you can see, it says parents and guardians must check your child's temperature every morning before sending them to school, and be available to pick up your child if they are sick. I'm going to repeat that one. Be available to pick up your child if they are sick. Please ensure that your child's school has a reliable working phone number where you can be contacted during school hours. So please take a moment and think, did my number change? Did I let the school know that my number changed? What about your emergency contacts? Has their number changed? And did you alert the school to that change? Please reflect on that and act accordingly if we need updated information. Keep your child at home until they have a negative COVID-19 test or both an alternative diagnosis from a healthcare provider and been fever-free for 24 hours without medication with improved symptoms. So let's review that piece again. If your child presents with any of the symptoms that we talked about, so let's say your child has presented with any one of these symptoms, your student needs to remain at home. The question then becomes, when can my student return? If your child has a COVID-19 negative test, they can return. Or let's say you take your child to the doctor and the doctor has said it was asthma, it was the stomach flu, it was a sinus infection. We need documentation that it was an alternative diagnosis, like a sinus infection, for example. And along with that alternative documentation of a different diagnosis, we also need your child to be fever-free for 24 hours. What that means is fever-free all on their healthy self, meaning they aren't fever-free because you gave them Tylenol. They're fever-free because they're better. If both of those exist, then yes, come on back. We're waiting on you. Notify the school if your child or anyone in your household has been exposed to COVID-19. What does it mean to be exposed? That means you got a phone call or a letter from the CDC or from the health department indicating that there has been an exposure. Or you know for a fact that your child was over Aunt Susan's house last night and Aunt Susan has COVID-19. That's exposure, and we need to be notified. Okay, I think this is my last slide, and then AP Ross is going to take over. But we're going to now talk about our start and end times. Okay, as you know, in this remote environment, we had a different schedule. However, come Monday, we are returning to our regular schedule with our hybrid start. So that means doors open at 9 a.m. Please be prepared for all weather, as we will not be opening the doors prior to 9 a.m. So be prepared for rain, sleet, snow, sunshine, all of that, because we will not be opening the doors prior to 9 a.m. However, when the students are outside prior to 9 a.m., social distancing will be enforced. Students will not be allowed to congregate prior to the doors opening. Classes begin promptly at 9:20 a.m. We will have a staggered dismissal, and that will be discussed more below. So I'm now going to turn it over to, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and allow AP Ross to share her screen.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Siobhan Ross, and I'm an assistant principal here at STEM Middle. We're going to talk about riding the bus. When waiting at bus stops, students will wear a mask and maintain a minimum of 3 feet of social distance. Assigned seats on buses will be provided for all students. A maximum of 2 students will be permitted in one seat unless they are siblings. Students must wear a face mask and unless approved by a mask exemption. Buses will be cleaned and sanitized after every route, and social distancing should be maintained at all times. Arriving at school, again, students must wear a face mask unless approved by a mask exemption. Students should enter through their designated entrance once they get to school. Upon entering the building, students should go straight to their classrooms and wash and sanitize their hands. Social distancing should be maintained at all times. We do have a quick video for you that describes our entrances in the morning to the building, and so we will play that for you right now.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead. This is Assistant Principal Snyderman. I am going to go ahead and share my screen, and I am going to present that video for you. Those of you who are on the call, who are listening in on their phone, won't be able to see it, but you will be able to hear the music that is going on in the background. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Okay. And here we go. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Snyderman, and I'm going to present my screen again. Okay, so in the classroom, all students will wear a mask at all times unless an official mask exemption is granted by the district or a student has been approved for a mask break under the direction of the classroom teacher. Desks will be assigned to students and will be spaced a minimum of 3 feet apart for social distancing. Students will wash or sanitize their hands and desks between transitions and before and after handling common classroom materials. Hallways and classroom drinking fountains will not be used. Students should bring a personal water bottle. Chromebooks should be transported to and from school in backpacks. And for the restroom, again, masks will be worn at all times while in the restroom, unless a mask exemption has been approved by the district. A limited number of students will be permitted in the restroom at one time. Waiting areas inside and outside the restroom and available restroom facilities will be marked to ensure social distancing. Students will wash and sanitize their hands after using the restroom, and restrooms will be cleaned frequently throughout the day. In the hallway, students should remain 3 to 6 feet of social distancing, maintain 3 to 6 feet of social distancing when traveling in hallways and following any directional patterns set by the building. Masks will be worn at all times while traveling in the hallways. And at recess, students will wash and sanitize their hands before and after recess. Students will be encouraged to maintain 3 to 6 feet of social distance at all times. Masks are required during recess unless a mask exemption has been granted by the district or a student has been approved for a mask break. In the event of indoor recess, masks will be worn and students will maintain a minimum of 3 feet of social distancing during all activities. Recess this year is for 5th grade only, and it is organized play. Breakfast and lunch procedures and expectation are as follows. Student will wash, sanitize their hands before and after all food consumption. Breakfast will be grab and go. 3 to 6 feet of social distance will be maintained when waiting in lunch lines. Marks will be placed on the floor or on the wall or floor to assist students with this while standing in line. All students will scan student ID cards to purchase lunch. If a student does not have a card, they will give their name to the cashier. Lunch tables will be socially distanced at a minimum of 3 feet apart, and students will be seated at a minimum of 3 feet apart. Okay, I'm going to transition over to Mrs. Wilson.
I'll go ahead and take over from here. So for those of you who have not met me yet, my name is Maxwell Snyderman. I am one of the other assistant principals here at Baldwin. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So give me 1 second here. Okay. Okay. So to continue on with the breakfast and lunch procedures and expectations, all breakfast is going to be grab and go. There will be no hot breakfast that is going to be served. Those will be at near the entrances that was shown in the video. That is the main entrance for bus riders, door 12 for all walkers, and door 11 for all students who are being dropped off. All breakfast and lunch this year will be free for the remainder of the year. However, please be sure that you still apply for free or reduced lunches whenever that window opens, whether it's towards the end of the year. We can get you more clarification on what that time frame is. But for next year, please make sure that you still apply to be eligible. We will have breakfast stations and carts that will be near each entrance, as I said before. Students will grab their breakfast and they will go directly to their first period class. Now, because we are transitioning to our hybrid schedule, their first period class is their block 1 class on their schedule, not their advisory. Okay, so I want to say that again. Their first period class at 9:20 will be their block 1 class, not their advisory. We did send that hybrid schedule out through an email. It is also on our webpage. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to reach out. So again, students will need to scan their ID cards in order to receive lunch. Those ID cards, we just received them the other day. We are currently placing them in all of the teachers' advisories. So whenever day your student shows up first, whether it be Monday or whether it's Thursday, they will receive those during their advisory period that day. If for some reason your student does not receive theirs, please make sure that you reach out to the school and we will get them one as soon as we can. Okay. Continuing on with our lunch procedures, we will have 4 lunch periods this year, 1 for each grade, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Seats are already marked for social distancing. As you saw in the video, they are marked with an X on the seats that they should not sit in. Once the student is seated for lunch and has their food, they cannot switch their seats. Okay, we are stressing that extremely hard this year. They cannot switch their seats. Students will be dismissed by table. There will be no opportunities for students to congregate in the cafeteria. When students go to pick up their lunch from the lunch line, their trays will be pre-portioned out for them. The students do have the opportunity to select their fresh items, whether it's a vegetable or a fruit. There will also be some a la carte options available as well, whether that's chips, drinks, or fruit snack. However, those do come at a cost. When students are being dismissed from school, as mentioned earlier by Mrs. Wilson, we are going to do those at staggered times. Okay, so bus riders, car riders, and walkers will be dismissed at different times at the end of the day. Students must wear a face mask during dismissal and while riding the school bus unless approved by an exemption from the district. Social distancing should be maintained at all times while on the school bus and exiting the building. The buses will be cleaned and sanitized at the end of every school day. When students are dismissed here at Baldwin, they need to make sure to clean and stack their chairs on top of their desks before being dismissed at the end of the day. Parent pickup and walkers will be dismissed at 3:40 p.m. through door 11 if they're being picked up and door 12 if they walk home. Bus riders will be dismissed at 3:45 p.m. and exit through the main doors. All other students will remain in the classroom until 3:50 p.m. Any athletes that are staying in the building will have until 3:55 p.m. to report to the cafeteria. Athletes that are arriving to the building will be briefed on expectations of arrival time and where to go by their coach. Social distancing will be followed in the cafeteria, and athletes will remain seated in their designated seats. Other safety considerations that you should have in mind is that we are not allowing any visitors or volunteers within the building this school year. Parents who are coming into the building to drop off items or to sign students in or out of school should wear a mask and observe social distancing visuals that will be clearly marked in the office. Parent meetings should be held virtually to the fullest extent possible. We will have no large group student events throughout this year. There will be no field trips permitted. And please, please make sure that you are discussing good hygiene habits with your child, such as washing their hands for a minimum of 20 seconds. And remind your child to maintain social distancing at all times, especially when they're walking through the hallways, coming off of the bus, and waiting outside before the doors open at 9 a.m. In terms of the communication that the administrative team here at Baldwin has been using and is going to continue to utilize throughout this school year, we utilize email, and the administration and the staff will send emails to inform, update, and alert you to what is new or changes that are taking place here within the building. We will begin using robocalls, so please make sure to listen when we call. Our webpage is regularly updated with announcements and all things related to STEM Middle here at Baldwin Road. So please make sure to check our webpage and please check your email regularly. As mentioned earlier, if you know that your email address has been changed, your phone number has been changed, please inform the main office. We want to make sure that we have the most accurate information so that when we do contact home, we're getting through to everybody that we need to. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And I will go ahead and mute myself. Mrs. Wilson, it is all yours.
Thank you, both APs, Ross and Snyderman. So again, we want to thank all of our families for your patience with us thus far. This has not been an easy undertaking, without doubt or question. I shared with the families that we met with last night via webinar that this is new for everyone. None of us have ever parented during a pandemic. I don't have any teachers who have ever taught during a pandemic. I certainly have not ever led during a pandemic. And definitely the true superheroes right now are our students, because they have never had to attend school during a pandemic. And we definitely love and appreciate all of our parents and all of the hard work all of you are doing. I shared last night that our students are the superheroes, but the parents are right there standing behind them, straightening crowns and adjusting capes, making sure that the work gets done, because we are in this together and we have to do all of this together to make sure that everything gets done. We thank you for being patient and extending grace. And we have done the same. We are so looking forward to the kids coming back. We all will be making sure that they're safe, doing our best to keep them safe. I'm a mom. I have kids in school. I know what it feels like. I already know. So understand that we will be adhering to all of the guidelines, making sure your kids are safe, being communicative as much as possible. Please continue to check our website, check your emails regularly, listen to our robocalls. Remember, we're in this together. And again, if you need to catch this recording, it will be posted to our SMBR webpage. Thank you. Take care now.